Good evening, good evening. Here we are, folks. It's the final round of the All Ports Motorsport Supercars NZ V8 Series. It is also the final round of the Inclusive Endurance Series racing run with inside the V8 Series for the Season 2 of the third round of that. Once again, we are coming to you from the Broadcasting Lounge. I'm Doug, and I'm joined in here tonight by the one and only Shane White. How are we going, Shane?
Yeah, good thanks, Doug. Excited to be here. Just like that, we've arrived at another season finale, so very cool to be here. And we've got, I think the outright championship is all wrapped up with Bruce Tannock over 200 points clear at the top of the table, so he'll be taking out
Wow.
the top prize for that one. But I think the endurance championship is a bit tighter, so there could still be a lot to play for in that.
Awesome stuff. And yeah, so tonight we are bringing you the Allport 200 from the Redbull ring. And on screen at the moment is a bit of an overview of the track map. It's rather flat looking in its state there, but I can inform there is quite a varying degree of altitude around this track, so some quite challenging corners. But would you like to give the folks at home a quick rundown at what they're looking at with that track map there, Shano?
Yeah, so 10 corners. A couple of those that are counted as corners probably don't challenge the cars a huge amount, especially turn 2, where it's a flat out left-hander on the way up the hill, and more about sitting up for turn 3 than it is actually a corner in itself. But you do get on the brakes just as you're going through the last little part of that corner, and it's a very challenging braking zone up there as you're trying to go as late as you can on the uphill, with the uphill helping to get it slowed down there for that almost hairpin. But yeah, that's a very tricky corner at the top, and plenty of elevation change and rise and fall, and yeah, long sweeping corners. It's a very challenging circuit.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly it's been a hard one for myself to master in the past outside of the V8 series and the GT3. So to see how these guys are going tonight, while they go and attack it for just over 47 laps, endurance racing here in those big beasts is nothing else short of masterclass. And we are here with the Div 1 boys, so these are the fastest guys currently in New Zealand on iRacing in the V8 series with us. And yeah, they're going to show us how they do their thing. We're coming up to the end of qualifying. 3 more minutes still to go, and currently out on top is Bruce Tannock over Nick Mitchell, followed up by Connor Nixon there in third. And then just underneath Connor is Sean Makatap Namara sitting there in fourth. So that's a awesome time for him. I'm sure he's been focused on getting some practice time in here at that race circuit. So we'll be able to see how he goes throughout the race. Now, Shane, I don't know if you noticed before, but we were rudely interrupted by a stream of white light from the door at the back, and I can see that Wayne snuck in.
How we going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, just blown away by how many cars are on track tonight in both divs. I mean, we got 51 cars in both divisions. So wow,
Yeah,
very cool.
wicked
Supercars NZ,
stuff.
All Ports Motorsport, mean.
Very, very much indeed. And Wayne's also dragged a friend in with him. It's sort of the contagious thing. Once the doors open, everyone else and his mates come flooding in. So we've actually got Corey Kitchen here from Virtual Motorsports New Zealand joining us in here tonight, and he's just doing some sound checks for us in the background at the moment. So it won't be too long before Corey jumps in and says hello for us as well. But talking race strategy for the night, Shano, how would you be looking at it if you were out there, eyes forward for a whole 47 laps?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a long one. It'll be interesting to see how the guys play it. Whether anybody potentially tries a two-stopper, you will be able to get through just on the one stop. I think potentially they're going to have enough fuel to make it to the finish without stopping, but of course they will be required to make a pit stop for minimum 4 tyres at some point in the race.
Yep.
Um, But it is, even splitting that in half, it's still a long way to go on a set of tyres. So could be the potential that if somebody wants to play that strategy, two stops could work out, but you'll also lose a lot of time in the pit stops doing that. So you'll have to be really on pace with those fresh tyres to make it work.
There you go. And we just see on screen there Blake Grenhall there in the Property Edge Mustang coming through and trying out his pit entry and pit stop to make sure that he knows what it's like to jump on the brakes there um, on the concrete as opposed to the nice rubbery track surface there. But do you have any information, Shane, on how long it's going to take them to traverse the pit lane here? It's quite a lengthy one, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't say I have any information on that, but yeah, it is quite a long pit stop, or quite a long pit lane, I should say. You feed off just before the final corner, and then you do take a shorter line through the final corner, but then hit that limiter quite early on, and quite a tight run through turn one to rejoin the track and then get back up to speed as well. So there is going to be a significant amount of time lost there
Yeah.
through that pit
And
lane.
again,
I've sorted the bounces out.
nice. Oh,
Yeah,
cool. There we
they're
go.
not letting anybody else in. They're trying to remove Corey at the moment, but he's fighting back.
Is he putting up a fuss?
Yeah. Bloody hell. That's alright. Might have to leave him in. Don't want too much controversy here at Supercars NZ.
Well, throw him a beanbag and tell him he can sit down out the front there.
Yeah, it's one. All good. So why am I here, Doug? What are we up to?
So I suppose we could probably sneak it in quickly before the race goes live. But on the weekend we had Father's Day, and part of Father's Day there was they did a sock giveaway for the people who turned up to the race. So what I've got sitting over here is this fantastic spinning wheel here. It says Father's Day socks, and it has a whole bunch of numbers on it, and they were the finishing cars, 1 through 31. So I can give that a quick shuffle up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the screen, and it's going to spin around for a wee while.
Yeah,
And
so
then
the stocks you wish you got
yeah,
on Father's Day was the name of the game, and 31 cars entered and 31 cars finished. So bloody awesome.
there you go, and it's going to stop on number
14.
16, I think. It's going to flash up on the screen. There it is.
What have we got?
So
16. So who finished 16th? Bill Kilger.
are you kidding? Oh wow!
No way. There we go.
There we go. So
Very cool.
well,
So
that's it, and I'm sure he's he is an awesome father, and I'm sure he's probably over the year received a few pairs of socks that he was truly grateful. But this might be the best pair yet. So well done, Bill. You've won that. You might be able to jump down and pass that message on to him at some point, Wayne, and let him know.
yeah, no worries. Bloody cool. And yeah, certainly yeah, well done, Bill. Big figure at Supercars NZ. And yeah, the draw showed it. So alright, cheers, Doug. I'll disappear and make sure these bouncers doing their job and keeping the likes of Corey out of here, and we'll go from there.
Thanks, matey. Yeah, if you can just put the wedge back under the door on the way out, and
Oh, they're lining up. You guys have fun, eh?
That's it.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Corey. You there, mate? What are you up to?
Yeah, no, I'm here. G'day, everyone. How are we?
Yeah.
Alright,
Good.
sweet.
So, that's us. So I suppose we'll quickly run down through some numbers. So we got Bruce Tannock there in first over Nick Mitchell in second, who's just about to grid up. Connor Nixon in third over Sean McNamara fourth. Heath Parlett and Taylor Mitchell make up the third grid. Jason Cossey and Adam Marinovich there on the fourth grid. And there on positions 9 and 10 is Roger Forbert and Eamon Young. So we've got pretty much our normal classic fast guys there rounding out the top 10. And knocking on the door just after that is some equally very fast names. Maybe some people who took it a wee bit more cautiously during the qualifying. See if they can give themselves a bit of breathing room and something to aim forward to an attack. So last couple of seconds as we come up to the lights coming up on the screen. Engines are getting ready to roar, and Shane is going to do his best to keep up with all the action.
Yeah, so they set off now, and it's pretty even on the front row. Connor Nixon maybe getting involved in the battle there and looking to jump up to P2, and just manages to squeeze ahead of Nick Mitchell there. Everybody making it through turn 1 nice and cleanly. It's Bruce Tannock leading on the run up towards turns 2 and 3, and Nick's been able to get the better run off turn 1 and get back alongside Connor. And Nick's going to have the inside for turn 2, and he'll be able to get that position back and hold on to it. And 2 by 2 in behind as we've got Sean McNamara into 4th over Taylor Mitchell.
Oh,
And Nick Mitchell's gone into the fence, and that will be an absolute blessing for Bruce Tannock out in front, because not only does it give him a little bit of breathing room as Taylor Mitchell now goes down the inside looking to avenge his father there. But Bruce Tannock also leading as Connor
and
goes
now
around
Connor goes
with
around.
contact from Sean McNamara and takes a secondary hit, rolling back a little bit onto the track, gets hit by one of the other SDI cars coming through there. That would have been Leon Ware, I think.
Oh, a few cars having to eject through to the pits there as well, towing out.
Be a bit of action on this first lap.
And Taylor Mitchell coming under pressure from Heath Parlett, who manages to get down the inside and into P2. So very good first lap for Heath, but it's Bruce Tannock out in front cruising at the end of the first lap. And as the point I was trying to make, not only has he got some breathing room out front of this race, but the battle at the top of the endurance battle was between Bruce and Nick Mitchell, and Bruce now out front while Nick is down in the field. So at this stage,
And
Bruce is looking very much odds on to wrap up that championship as well as the overall championship there.
Bruce has made an absolute killing off the start of this race, already extending his lead out to nearly 4.5 seconds. But this action-packed battle here at the moment between positions 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, I don't think it could get any spicier. These guys have come into this final with everything on the line and are throwing it at it with nothing to lose.
Yeah, and the order is changing up so quickly. I mean, a minute ago I was calling Heath Parlett in P2, now he's dropped back to P5. It's just such good, tight, close racing as Taylor Mitchell getting back by Jason Costy for P2 again. But what it is doing all this time is allowing Bruce Tannock to just cruise along out in front and build that gap.
Certainly has, and we've got some people that have made up some monstrous numbers already as we come up to our second lap of the race.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely hectic start. Big lock up there for one of the cars. I didn't quite catch who that was. Blake Greenhill getting involved in a battle there with Daniel Nolan just in front of him.
Yep, and he's already got the blinkers on as well. He's got Cole Buchan, Simblek's entry, absolute hounding on the back of his spoiler as well. If we look just ahead, there's even tighter battle being taking place at the moment between Simon Heddershot and Craig Mason.
Simon just locking up there on the outside, trying to go deep on the brakes to try and hold it around the outside, but couldn't quite get it done there.
Yeah.
Looks like Nick Mitchell's had another issue as well and towed to the pits, unfortunately. So absolutely disastrous night for him, and a night where he would have been hoping to see if he could grab a good enough result to overhaul Bruce Tannock in that Enduro Cup.
Oh, and Sean's certainly working for his money, running the SDI livery tonight on his car. You can already see him very much positioning the car on track as if to say, Heath, not just yet, mate. You stay back there. great battles taking place.
Look, a couple of drivers have made it up about 7 spots each so far. Wade Michael and Ryan Cottle.
Yeah, we can bring that information up on there for the folks at home, and click on that one. Here we go. That shows how many positions people have gone up versus how many have gone down.
There's quite a few green markers on there, so quite a few people have made some good gains on the first few laps.
Certainly have. The big one so far is Wade Michael with 7, then followed by Craig Mason there, up 6 spots. Blake Greenhall and Liam Jacobs both up 5 spots there. So yeah, quite a few of those guys who maybe didn't qualify as well, or just gave themselves a bit of breathing room to put a qualifying time in, have paid dividends and have already shot up inside to the top 10, or are sitting just outside it. But Simon Heddershire getting down alongside Eamon Young there. He's fallen off the back of Craig Mason a wee bit, as Craig is now putting pressure on Adam Marinovich in front of him there.
Yeah, Bruce is flying, isn't he?
Yeah, so that's Bruce out front, and he is currently, as you can see, 6.4 seconds ahead of the next person. And what that sort of looks like as he comes to the end of the back straight is all those tiny dots just going around the last corner there.
Yeah, so
Miles away.
Bruce's last lap 1 second quicker than Taylor Mitchell.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, and Taylor has managed to fly clear in now as well. He's just pulled away from Jason Costley enough that he's able to focus on what he's doing, hitting his markers, and Bruce still able to lap significantly quicker than Taylor is. So at this stage, it looks like Bruce is going to run away with this one. Still a long way to go though, plenty that can go wrong.
100%, and that's the thing that certainly has to be, you know, taken into consideration as well. You know, Bruce only needs to make one small mistake, end up wide out in the sand trap, you know, have a poor pit entry, get penalised for speeding coming into the pits too aggressively, not hitting the mark and having to reverse up. There's so many things that can still go wrong in what's a normal race, but when you're battling with an endurance race feelings, you know, I suppose what would you call it? The anxiety of the muscles not doing what you think they should be doing. You start overthinking your inputs too much, and doubting yourself that you're hitting the right markers. You start playing mind games with yourself. All of these things certainly come into light with the longer races.
Yeah, driver fatigue kicks in eventually, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And you can see Sean McNamara just slipping back a little bit. We saw his name drop back behind Heath Parlett on the timing tower, and he's now coming under Brewster from Craig Mason as well. Not sure if he might have just had a little issue on that lap, or if he's just struggling for pace a little bit at the moment. He will probably be happy to just let a few of these guys pass, because the name that he will be watching is Wade Michael, who's currently back in 14th position. Sean's sitting second in the championship with Wade 19 points back in 3rd place. So as long as Sean can stay ahead of Wade, or at least keep Wade inside if he does allow him pass, then that should ensure that Sean will be finishing the championship season in P2.
And that's Wade Michael there on screen, the 079 car. You see him having a great battle with Toby Stent, who is a Kiwi living abroad, lives in Japan. So he's, yeah, I don't know what kind of crazy time of the day it is over there for Toby, but once again, thank you for tuning up and coming along and joining us and racing alongside your fellow Kiwimen, and against some equally fast Aussie men, which somehow managed to sneak into the Supercars New Zealand League a few seasons ago. But they're a good bunch of guys, and we certainly enjoy having those ones around. So that's Wade Michael, and that's the one who Craig will be keeping an eye on as he looks at slowly chipping away on cars, moving himself forward. He won't want to be making too many risky moves, as he's managed to just glide up alongside Sean McNamara there, moving himself just into 5th spot, and he'll be able to challenge Sean into getting off the racing line there. He breaks him out late.
I see Sean's last lap was a 1:30, so he's lapping at the same speed as Bruce, so that's some quite good pace.
Certainly is. Yeah, you're right. It's certainly up there. Quick timing, and now we'll be able to see what Craig can do. That he's given himself a wee bit of clear air. Maybe him and Sean can work their way back onto this man who's sitting just ahead of them, Heath Parlett.
So I've just picked up on some data, Doug. Hopefully you've got it there on your screen as well. Jason Cossey passed Taylor Mitchell for P2.
Have.
So Taylor's struggling a little bit at the moment. I haven't seen how Jason was able to get this close to Taylor, but just here Taylor ran wide and allowed Jason to just get up on the inside here and make the move, and very easy for Jason to just stroll on through. Taylor had found his way back past, but has since made another mistake and slipped back behind again.
Well, there you go. So yeah, Taylor's been able to remake the move there on Jason. So he recovered his position back.
Oh, and I've just seen Taylor going around live at turn 3, this very corner. Has managed to keep it off the wall and get it back going again without getting collected by anybody, but he's dropped right back in the pack now. So this fight was continuing here, and he's just got a bit wide onto that yellow curb and just lit up the rear tyres there and gone around. Little bit nervous the way he's backed it up there, but he's managed to leave enough space for everybody to get around him.
Yeah, there we go. That's unfortunate. So that's just dropped Taylor what was essentially P2, P3, now down into P16. So yeah, quite a monumental drop down the pack for him, and now got some guys to try and battle past. Ryan Cottrell there having a battle with Cole Buchan sitting in behind him, which is also pulling Taylor Mitchell along that one. Cole slipping back in behind Taylor there.
So I got the feeling from watching Taylor earlier when he was running P2 and then fighting with Jason Cossey over that position that he might have just been overdriving a little bit. We were seeing some mistakes starting to creep in from the youngster, and just was very characteristic of trying to carry a bit too much speed into corners and running wide, maybe trying to push those braking markers a bit long, as you should be looking to settle into the long stint there. So I wonder if he had been looking to try and put some good laps down and chase down Bruce Tannock, where maybe he just didn't have the pace to do that and should have settled for running where he was.
Does indeed. What I can see from our data sheets is a ton of people passing, and we've got some really close battles continuing to take place throughout the field. Right from P2 here, Jason Cossey, now got Heath Parlett closing in on him. Back from him, Sean McNamara keeping very close with Craig Mason after he got by before. Evan Young closing up on the back of Adam Marinovich, and he's got Daniel Nolan just keeping well and truly paced with him. And everyone else still within a second of timing between each other. Blake very close to Simon. Bit of a gap back here. Toby still close with Wade Michael after he got by before.
Jason Cossey's just gone deep at turn 3 and opened the door for Heath Parlett to walk through. That's a change for P2 there, but Jason able to slot in behind there and continue putting some pressure on. He's just
So
showing the nose
bit of a show of the
there,
nose, yep.
and then just a bit of a lock up as Jason's tried to turn it in there and couldn't make the apex, and Heath jumped on that opportunity.
Yeah, probably just enough for him to glance in the mirror and just misjudge his braking marker a wee bit and have to put a bit too much brake pressure in. But Corey, you were just about to say something there?
Yeah, I was just wondering, Shane, have you punched out any fuel numbers on this race at all?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't had the chance to do any laps to get a fuel number, so I'm not too sure how we're looking as far as fuel windows, but I think tyres will most likely be the limiting factor. The fuel should either do a full race or come close to doing a full race, certainly do over half the race, so I would think they'll be looking at trying to get in somewhere around that mid-race mark to get some fresh tyres on as Bruce Tannen comes across lap traffic in the form of Nick Mitchell.
Yeah, so Nick sitting back there in 21st position, 19 positions down from where he started off the grid in P2. So quite a disastrous start for him. And also, no, sorry, looks like he's long gone that one, and can confirm he's gone too. So had a couple of people pull out. So Nick's essentially our last car out there on track at the moment, and he's currently following this man in P20, 17 seconds up the field. Having a look at some other names that we usually see a bit further up the order is this man here, Leon Weir, and I'm sure that face is completely accurate to the one that is behind the helmet.
That absolutely terrifies me.
If you can see through the tints, there it is.
That fringe.
You mean the fringe that we've all had?
No, I can guarantee I never had a fringe like that. I can't grow them these days.
Leon's SDI deal obviously doesn't extend to the suit and helmet.
No, yeah, I'll bring that back because yeah, no, that he's opted for a full Stig outfit there.
It might be a bit breezy for him too, with no front window.
Yeah. Has he got side windows? Oh no, there we go. It looks like it's got a front window.
Yeah, it must be just that camera angle.
Must be.
So I see you've got to make one pit stop for 4 tyres, is it, for the race?
That's correct, yeah, so the guys will be required to come at least once to change 4 tyres.
So something's happened because Craig Mason is behind Sean McNamara, so I'll see if I can see where that was. So this is this one here, Sean getting back into P4 over Craig.
Yes, so Craig getting a little bit wide through turn 8 there, and Sean able to position the car on the inside down that little straight and into turn 9, but looking at the lap numbers, I think Sean probably just had him for pace anyway, about, well, a couple of seconds faster on their best lap times, and Sean 10th of a second faster on their last lap time, so...
Man, that's insane. Who's Sean's boyfriend that he's got pictured there?
I'm not
That
too
looks
sure.
like a wrestler of some sort.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
I'm not too sure, but I think I've got someone here who knows a little something about Sean.
He prefers the company of men.
There we
Oh,
go.
Marge.
That was good. That was well timed. I like that. So it's let's just take a second and have a look at this gentleman here, because he's come in and he is absolutely dominating this track here tonight as he rolls across the start-finish line on what's lap 14 of 47. Still punching out very respectable lap times, and he's pretty much just a touch under 14 seconds ahead of P2. Absolutely insane. Well done, Bruce.
Yeah, very impressive, and only picked up 2 off tracks in doing so, which is a very hard task around this track. There's plenty of places you can pick up an off track if you just run a little bit wide, and that's something the guys will need to be aware of, because it is a long race and they're only allowed 20 incident points before they'll receive a drive through. Couple of guys already in the double figures on that. We've got Stefan Adams and Leon Ware on 12, and Taylor Mitchell currently on 11. So those guys, as we're still quite far from the halfway mark, will be needing to be aware of that as they start to creep closer towards that 20 mark.
And just while that was happening, Heath Parlett's just fallen off the track through the breaking point of what I'm assuming is turn 5, and ran wide through into the sand trap there. So all his hard work coming undone, dropping out of 3rd spot, now back down to 5th, and just in front of his teammate, I believe. Yeah, just there in 6th spot, just ahead of Adam Marinovich. So what that's now done is it once again has completely shaken up our front runners, and it's allowed Sean McNamara onto what could be the 3rd and final step of a finished podium, as their battle with Jason Cossey is getting extremely close. Still managing just to, actually those guys are super tight. I was just going to say just a little bit ahead of Craig Mason, but how's that for previous lap times between Sean and Craig?
Wow, super close. So that's a really tight battle, and meanwhile they've both taken 0.8 of a second out of Jason Cossey as well. So not sure whether Jason Cossey's just used up a bit too much of his tyres early in the race and is now struggling a little bit out there, but certainly Sean and Craig are really dragging him in at the moment, as we're on board with Blake Greenhill here, and that's Liam Jacobs just in front of him in the Simdex car.
Yeah, Liam Jacobs, 069, up 8 spots there into P9. He sort of snuck up through the field. I hadn't really seen his name filtering on through, but there he goes. He's got himself inside the top 10 and had just managed to work his way past Blake Greenhill there a few corners ago. So Blake now actually coming into the pits. So Blake, I'd say, is looking at opting for what could possibly be a 3-stop strategy. A 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, that could be what he's going for there. It's quite early for a 1-stopper, isn't it? He's going to have a long way to go on those tyres to the end, so that it will be interesting to see if we see him dive back to the pits later on. Just interesting as well, watching those two through turn 7, the different lines that came into play there. As we saw Liam Jacobs, it looked like he was able to carry a lot of speed in towards the apex and probably cost him a little bit on the exit, but gave him enough of a gap that while Blake was able to get off the corner quicker by carrying less speed in, sort of just closed the gap up by the end of the straight, and Blake wasn't in a position to be able to throw it down the inside. So not sure whether it was just a little bit of a mistake from Liam, or if that's his preferred line and a couple of different methodologies to that corner there.
Yeah, there we go. And there's Liam doing his thing, and he's certainly got his eyes forward on closing in towards Simon Heddershot there. But up the front, it's getting spicy. You were saying it before. You'd wonder whether Jason's potentially burned up his tyres. Sean McNamara sitting in behind him and certainly not easing off whatsoever as they come across the line. Last lap times will give us an indication of where they're at. And actually very equally matched at the moment, as we just see Jason getting a bit of a bad run out of turn 1 there. Sean's managed to glide down.
Jason got all up on that yellow sausage curb, and it's very hard to get the power down when you're sitting up on there, so that's cost him a lot of speed up the straight and allowed Sean McNamara to get down the inside, and then Craig's going to try and follow him through. Just on the point of track limits as well, most of the places around here, as long as they're keeping two wheels on the red and white curbing, they're okay for the off tracks. So you might be watching them go well over the white line and thinking they should be picking up an off track, but like I say, most places they just have to keep two wheels on that red and white curbing. But you can see at a lot of places these guys have been pushing even those limits and getting very close to dropping right off the back of those curbs and picking up an off track. So you can see just how much they're pushing the limits.
It's
Yeah,
some good racing, some bloody good racing to watch.
Certainly is, and this one here gives us quite a good sort of a glance over the top of how cars come through certain corners, where they may benefit from being able to brake a bit later, turning in shallower, versus someone who can carry a bit more mid-speed, as they've all come across the start-finish line and they're coming around turn 1 here now. Jason certainly struggling with that as he's just run a little bit wide towards that yellow sausage curb again, and it's now allowing Heath Parlett to have a run up alongside him as they come down into turn 2.
Yeah, that's an interesting shot. You can see Craig on the approach to what is actually counted as turn 3 there, getting all up on the curb while Sean gave the curb a bit more space, got onto there in the last little bit of the braking zone to get on there. I think I would prefer Sean's line where he's staying off the curb as long as possible, as he's just locked up there on the apex and might be susceptible to Craig. But yeah, I think I like the approach of staying off the curb as much as possible, because it is quite a rough curb and very slippery. It can upset your braking performance there, where Craig's preferring to get out there nice and early, use plenty of that curb and open up the approach as much as he can into the corner, but it will make the braking very tricky for him as he's on that rough slippery surface.
Yeah, just very cool, and like I said at the beginning of the stream, if you were here to hear it, was that this is our Div 1 guys. It's they're the fastest ones currently in New Zealand for iRacing in the V8s, and they're certainly showing their pace and their racing skill.
So Sean just had a little bit of a slip up going quite wide between turns 9 and 10 on that run through. I thought he might have picked up a slowdown, but it looks like he's just got away with that. Certainly would have picked up another off track, but he's not too badly in trouble there. Sitting at 6 as we are starting to draw closer to that halfway mark, so not too much of an urgent threat there, but he will need to be wary that he doesn't pick up too many more to start to get into trouble on that front.
Okay. Speaking of off tracks, we've had a very unusual request from one of our fellow racers who's tuned into the live stream, and that's from Dion de Graaf, and he wants to know how many off tracks has Wade got.
Wade Michael has 8 off tracks currently.
8 off tracks. Wow, look at that. So certainly going well. Who's got the lowest so far out of all the races out there?
Tony Lynch is sitting on 1, but it looks like he's retired from the race, unfortunately. As far as anybody else, Looks like it's Bruce currently sitting on 2 out in front, just cruising out in front and able to be a bit more careful with those track limits.
There
It's
he
17
goes.
second margin now for Bruce. It's, yeah, that's mind blowing.
Yeah, like as I said, he's certainly not eased off at all from keeping his consistency rolling through. He's hitting very, very good numbers, lap after lap after lap, and so far he's done 20 of them and stretched out his lead over P2, which is currently Sean McNamara, by just a touch over 17, nearly 17 and a half seconds. But
Actually, I need to make a correction on my statement about the lowest incident points, or the lowest off tracks anyway. Roger Forbert's still sitting on zero.
oh, here we go. So we'll give Roger his time. There he is, one of the misfit boys, car 51. Sitting there in P13, so he has done a pit stop already. He's been through once, and second fastest time through the pits with a 16.8. A couple of the other guys a bit further down the grid have done some 21s and 23s, so I guess that's sort of a bit closer to full tank as Roger actually comes back in now for a second stop.
I believe he had just made his pit stop on the previous lap as well, so this may be a penalty for speeding in the pits, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But to give a bit more information on Roger's off-track count, his off-tracks are showing as 0 in SDK, but iRacing has 1 incident point recorded against him, so he may have had some contact at some point that just resulted in a 1x there.
Oh, there we go. So, Roger currently sitting in the pits has now exceeded 22 seconds, 23. So no, he's just come back in and maybe opted to fill the tank completely and take a fresh set of tyres and look at running it out through towards the end now. Daniel Heddershot's had a bad moment. It doesn't say I can't see crash data for his name, but he's gone off track and back on and then jumped to the pits. So I'm going to take a quick look at that and see what that's about. Oh, yep. And yeah, then just that he's decided that was enough for him.
He's taking the tow.
Jason Cossey come into the pits there. He'll be getting very close to dropping down now. There we go, 25 seconds for him. It's going to be interesting to see when Bruce comes in, because would you imagine he must be getting pretty close to what would be a full tank?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I think, well, we haven't made the halfway mark just yet, so I think they've probably still got at least a few more laps in it. But certainly as we approach that halfway mark, most of these guys will be starting to think about getting some fresher tyres on for the second half of the race. They've done well to manage them this far, as this battle for P2 is still going strongly between Sean McNamara and Craig Mason.
Yeah.
With Heath Parlett not far behind, and all 3 guys going past for another lap, one more at least for these guys.
Yeah. So, considering these 3 cars here in particular, hypothetically, they all come into the pits, they all jump on the brakes and stop the same. Is any one of those 3 cars more benefited by having able to save a little bit more gas, that they could get a jump in the pit lane from that current driving order?
I would
I would.
imagine they're all set up to have their fuel potentially covered by tyres, although they probably needed to add a bit more than that. I'm not sure.
I'd be the first one out of this group to pit would probably add the benefit, I reckon.
There we go. So, with that in mind, we have seen Craig manage just to slip on by Sean. He didn't seem to contest the issue too much. So maybe Sean was battling with a wee bit of traction coming out of that corner and didn't want to glow up the tyres too much before deciding to come into the pits. But it's certainly remarkable for these guys when you consider some of the other races that we do, just how well these cars can hold on to onto a tyre. So that's Sean dived for the line, followed by Heath Parlett, and also Adam Marinovich and Simon Heddershire jumping in as well. So Heath doing a good job of getting up nice and close to the rear bumper of Sean as he was getting close to the line. And they're both on their both stopped very similar.
Oh,
no,
Heath overshot
actually,
the box.
yeah, he did. So that's not going to be good for him. He may even be at risk there of his teammate Adam Marinovich being able to jump him in the pit lane. The timers are ticking on by.
So Sean looking to get the fresh tyres on here and try and get an undercut on Craig Mason as he drops away now, and Heath not losing out too much to Sean, but certainly that gap is a few car lengths where he was right on his bumper coming in.
I would have happen a guess that Heath was waiting to see when Sean dropped and clicked the stop fill button, so he was away at a fairly similar rate. That's just what I think may have taken place there. So
We've got Bruce coming into the pits now.
there we go. So everyone getting amongst it now. We've reached the halfway point, and
Craig Mason just diving in now as well.
oh, he did. Bruce
Bruce
overshot.
I think he can afford that though.
It was a very short one, but again, it's that's what I'm saying, is these kind of things can happen. I don't think it's overly going to have too much of a drawback on him, but he will be coming out potentially with some lap traffic. So moving forward, he's still got to be very careful with where he comes out in the race order. Craig Mason there serving his stop. Also, Bruce comes back out on track, and he's actually well and truly clear of people in front and behind. So he's got Wade Michael ahead of him by just under 10 seconds, and Stefan Adams, Simblac's entry there without having stopped yet.
Very tight between Sean and Craig on the rejoin, and Sean's just been able to get ahead, so that undercut working.
And I saw just as Craig went by, a quick flick of the flash's headlights.
Oh, bit of a lock up from Sean, and he runs wide. That's going to make him vulnerable to Craig on the run down here. If Craig can get track position here, which he does, he's got lap pressure tyres. Still side by side, but Craig's going to have the inside line. And once Craig can get these tyres up to temperature, if he's got track position, that's going to be a big advantage for him, because he's got a lap pressure tyres. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it could potentially make a big difference. Of course, Sean had the advantage of bringing his tyres up to temperature with a bit of space around him, where Craig is going to be working his tyres very hard while they're still cold, so that could actually hurt the life a little bit as well, so it could end up swinging back in Sean's favour later on.
And as we've seen from Sean in that first half of the race, he was actually looked to be marginally quicker each lap than Craig. Yes, a very, very minute amount of difference, but that's all the little pieces added up after corner, where he was able to just keep in front and circulating a bit quicker. So it probably won't be too hard for Sean, as we see here very close to sitting on the back bumper of Craig, as Craig, I'm pretty sure, is going to be defending hard coming down into turn 3.
Oh, bit of a touch at the apex as Craig just parks it on the apex to protect against the switchback there. So good defensive driving from Craig.
You've always got to be wary of the Mac attack.
Certainly, and it's been played. That card has been played a few times this season, but again, awesome credit to these two drivers currently sitting in 4th and 3rd, Craig Mason and Sean McNamara, racing hard and racing well. It's great to see. Bit further down the order, we've got Simon Heddershire coming alongside with Ryan Cottrell as he's managed to make that work, turning it nice and aggressively down onto the apex. As Simon gets a bit out of shape, and that's allowed Ryan to get a rerun down with him. Taylor Mitchell once again right in the thick of it. I think that's about the 3rd time I've clicked onto.
Oh, that'll be an unsafe pit entrance from Ryan as he's run straight across the painted concrete there.
Saw that, and I was just going to get your opinion on that one too, Shane, so thanks for clearing that up. So yeah, there's definitely a definitive white line that you've got to be inside coming into pit lane, and I'll have a quick look back on it there, so if you missed it at home, you blinked.
Fairly late decision, wasn't it?
Very late, and yeah, well and truly past that committal line.
Matt got a little bit caught up racing with those other guys, and the pit lane entrance just comes up so quickly.
Yeah, and Keane confirmed Ryan's now sitting at 33 seconds and counting there in the pit lane, so I'd say he's well and truly serving a time penalty
for, we got Wade Mitchell.
For that error.
Wade Michael, was it? Yeah, he's just had a big off.
Oh, big moment. So let's have a look and see if I've got some data for that.
That engine's a little bit coffee.
Wade Michael went off, back on, went off, back on. My gosh, it's all over the place. So it goes back to about here. I'm going to say this, where he passes Adam Runovic. Let this run for a minute because there was a whole bunch of stuff happening.
Oh, 3 wide moment, unfortunately. There was a bit of chat coming across the mic from that. I believe it was from that incident. I'm not sure if you picked that up on the screen there, Doug. I hope you didn't, because it got quite ugly.
Oh, that's incredibly unlucky. So that's those guys all. Yeah, so Blake Greenhall, Adam Marinovic, and Wade Michael caught up in that, and that's not the way you want to see a property edge Mustang, and that's certainly hurting and unfortunate because Blake was tracking very well there. But, looking here, Dirty Diesel's all over the back of Heath Parlett, that tag team of Eamon Young and Jason Cossey. It's always a live one, and it's always there. They're getting stuck into it well and truly. So looking out the back of Heath's window, he's got a whole bunch of these white, yellow and black Dirty Diesel cars hovering there. There's a bit of an inside wheel lock there. Coming down into the final corner.
So Stefan Adams has just taken his pit stop very late in the race, and Liam Jacobs still out there currently leading, but still to stop as well. And must be something about those Simblex tyres. They're able to last a lot longer, because a couple of Simblex cars going very deep into this race before taking their pit stops.
Yes, indeed. And Stefan's done a pretty well quicker than what I suppose would be the average pit stop times there, a high 22, so pretty good, and he'll be on some fresh tyres now with a slightly heavier car, and Now it's to get the brain focused back on what a heavy car feels like on cold tyres as you're going around the track again.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big adjustment when you've been in that zone, tyres up to temperature, fuel load coming down, and then you put 4 fresh tyres on it, fill it up again, and have to readjust to that heavy car with cold tyres. It's not an easy adjustment to make coming out of the pits, and can be very easy to overcook something on that outlap.
How do we feel that Sean's feeling towards the end of this race? We've got 17 laps to go. He's going to be sitting in his seat, sweaty palms.
To be honest, I think he's just loving this. I think he's just absolutely loving this.
I see he's moved himself into a nice quiet spot above us.
Yes,
he's
gone to the quiet zone. I'm guessing with the chit chat, he wanted to be focused on doing his thing. But if we look here, this is the moment where Craig's been able to move back into third spot.
Craig locks it up.
Sean.
I thought he had gone quite deep on the brakes, and Sean able to get alongside. Craig's still there, but Sean's going to have the inside by the time they get down to turn 4. And even just inching ahead towards the braking zone on the brakes, and I'd say Sean's going to have this one all wrapped up nicely. So Sean putting the pressure on, Craig making the mistake and opening the door for Sean to walk on through.
There we go, and we'll see what mistake Sean made a little bit earlier to allow Craig to get by. This is almost a similar, a repeat of what we just saw between them two. So
they've been trading passes all race, these two.
Yeah. So what Sean did one time round, Craig has gone and done the next. Amazing stuff, and those guys still close together. That doesn't. I was going to say that didn't look too healthy. Coming in through there, Jason Cossey and Heath Parlett almost touching through the braking zone.
Yeah, that was all a little bit messy, wasn't it?
Credit to this young fella, recovery drive coming through the field and back into 8th spot there, as he's come up on the on this battle here of the Dirty Diesels and the Skeleton Sim Sports entry.
Yeah, maybe he heard you earlier, Shane, and he's given it a real good shot to get back up to 8th. That's only 2 spots off his starting position.
And
yeah, it's been a good drive from Taylor. I feel like he does his best racing when he's got, or does his best driving when he's got cars around him to race. He seems to go better when he can focus on trying to get around another car. Sometimes when he gets clean air, he does tend to overdrive a little bit and make those mistakes that we were seeing from him earlier on.
He's certainly made a commanding pass there on Simon Heddershod before to move himself up into that 8th spot, so that's what we were just seeing there. We go back to here, and yep, thought there was a bit of an overlap happening. Heath Parlett once again up alongside Jason Cossey, and that should be Heath's coming into turn 1 there. Done well to avoid getting too high up on that yellow sausage on the outside corner, which we all know so well for being able to turn us around.
Craig's just been able to slide down the inside of Sean again down at turn 3. Look for a moment like Sean might be able to get the switch back on him, but Craig at the moment able to hold on to that one.
Nice draft and just positioned late into moving out from behind him into the braking point.
Yeah, just let this replay run through. Sean has been able to get back down the inside at the next corner as well.
There we go, and I thought I was just seeing a bit of wheel slip there from Craig after trying to get back onto it, and now Sean moving himself back in underside of Craig at that same corner once again. So these guys are going to have to count forward how many laps they've got left and work out where they need to be positioned for that final lap, because at the moment there is next to nothing separating them.
Liam Jacobs is taking his pit at the moment.
Yep,
So
so
that's
there we
Bruce
go.
back into the lead.
It is indeed. So Liam Jacobs now, as he falls back into his race order, probably see him sitting about P10. No, just ahead of that. So Liam Jacobs sitting there in P9. Speaking of time to kill, this man here, nearly 25 seconds up the field.
Yeah, he's just been absolutely cruising tonight, hasn't he? While everybody else has been fighting and tripping over each other and falling off the track. Sean McNamara and Craig Mason probably the exception to with the falling off the track part, but certainly finding each other back there, and that fight's still going on. I don't think it's going to be resolved until probably a few hundred metres after turn 10 on lap 47.
Yep. But ever approaching, because he's made his way past everyone. The young kid's carved. Look at that. That's what he had behind him. All of this, all of that going on, and in a matter of, what, 2 or 3 laps, he's been able to cruise on through.
Yeah, very impressive. I noticed him having a big slide off turn 7 though, so I think he's probably asked a bit much of the tyres while he's been doing that. As Heath Parlett off the track in pit lane and having it all locked up on the grass, and I think he's going to tow back to the pits. There he is.
Interesting. Not too sure what's just happened there, but maybe he didn't do the dishes because he's gone. That's unfortunate.
It's a rage quit.
Yeah. I didn't see anything too untoward happening before that. Maybe just a bit of ruffles and bumples. Let's have a bit of a look back here at some of the passing that was going on.
Might be right. He might have needed to do the dishes. And
oh, crikey! That was so lucky there for Taylor. That was nearly a repeat of what we saw with Blake there before, with one of the Heddershires and Wade Michael. Oh, just falling away there. Very unsure as to why that took place, but let's have a quick look at Taylor doing his thing, because he's gone and sized these guys up nicely.
Might have an answer to the Heath Parlett mystery. He had just racked up 22 incident points when he came into the pits, so I believe he had just picked up that drive-through and probably had enough at that point and decided he wasn't going to continue after that.
Yeah. Can we take a second just to appreciate how lucky Taylor was at this point here that he didn't get creamed. This one here.
very fast part of the track.
Wait for this.
Yes, super lucky. He'll be very thankful to either Jason Cossier or Eamon Young there that they were able to gather that one up there and obviously still made contact, but if that car had gone around, it would have been very quickly into the back left corner of Taylor's car there and probably would have fired him the other way.
100%, yeah, and that would have not been good. He caught out at the beginning there, and what you don't need with about 12 laps remaining is to get caught out again like that. So But thanks for that info on what happened with Heath Parlett there, mate. There was yeah, unlucky, obviously, maybe few too many run wides off tracks, and maybe a bit too couple of side-by-side bumps and tags and things like that. It's hard to say. But
Yeah, there was certainly a fair bit of bumping going on and a fair bit of running wide over the course of that lap from Heath as well. So I think it all just added up and resulted in him ticking over those 20 incident point limit and picked up that drive-through, and obviously decided he wasn't too keen to carry on after serving a drive-through, unfortunately.
yeah. So with this taking place ahead of us and nearly 11 laps left remaining, would you be keen to do an onboard with this gentleman here? Seeing
Absolutely.
he is doing some quick time racing, and he's running pretty consistently at the moment.
Absolutely.
So we'll get that one lined up. We'll get rid of that, and we'll give you the folks at home an understanding of how quick they're actually getting up to. Thank you, Shane.
So Taylor brings it out onto the front straight with a little bit of a correction there with some oversteer, coming up through the gears into fifth. Getting out on the curve to open up the corner, down to second gear for turn one, nicking out a corner. Bit of understeer he picked up there, but just leaning on that yellow curb on the exit and then accelerating away up the hill, up to fifth gear, into the left-hander at turn two here, and then getting on the brakes just after the start of the curve, down through the gears, all the way back down to first gear, just clipping the yellow curb on the inside there, and then letting it slide out to the exit curb on the left. Get the power down as cleanly as you can, and pulling gears down this straight up to fifth gear, and then coming back down into second gear, as there's a bit of an incident for Taylor to make his way around, and that was Craig Mason.
It was Craig Mason facing the wrong way there, so we'll have a look back at that in a minute.
So down to third gear through turn six here, sail out, use plenty of the curb in between 6 and 7, and then into 7, another long left-hander. And then just try and get the power down nice and cleanly through 8, out to the exit curb on the left there, up into 5th gear on the run down this straight, back down to 3rd gear for turn 9. And then holding it in 3rd gear for the final corner, try and get a clean exit, a little bit of a correction again across that exit curb and coming down across the line. I think Taylor's running quite a short gear ratio there because he's not using 6th gear anywhere around the track. He's just about getting on that limiter and 5th in a couple of spots, but not using 6th gear, so obviously preferring a slightly shorter gear ratio for this track.
Yeah, there we go. Right, we'll have a quick squiz at seeing what happened to Craig there, as he's now fallen back to 7th spot.
Yeah, a wee bit of a whoopsie.
Sean's had a bit of a lock, and he's just been collected by the lap car there as well, so...
Yes, well, I don't think he would have been overly appreciative of that.
Yeah, hard luck, Craig, mate.
It's a bit hard to see from there.
It's a hard one. Sean's had the moment. Craig gets into him and he's going slow on the inside there, and there's just sort of nowhere for that car to go.
Yeah, I just had a wee check-in with Macca to see how he is, and he's holding it together, nice and quiet.
Yep, nice stuff. Let's consider our P1 spot at the moment, as he is still not letting off.
Is that a 30-second gap? Near enough.
That is to be accurate, a 29.2 second gap. So for the sake of a half a Weet-Bix flake on the front bumper, yeah, 30 second margin.
Yeah, we got Taylor Mitchell. He's lapping around about a second, roughly, quicker than Macca at the moment.
Indeed. So what we've got here is Taylor Mitchell with only 1.2 second gap to the back of Sean McNamara as we look at the last 8 laps of racing. So Taylor has been pushing a lot, and he's been getting stuck in with getting through those passes and working on that tyre a lot. But Sean is in a very similar boat as well, wouldn't you say there, Shane?
Yeah, Sean's been in a race-long battle with Craig Mason and has been going offline a lot, working the tyres as he's been going side by side with Craig Mason for a lot of the race. So slightly different scenarios in the sense that Taylor's been working his way through the field where Sean's been battling one guy most of the race, but similar end result where it is asking a lot of the tyres. I will be interested to see how this pans out because Taylor's got the pace to catch at the moment, but it's one thing to catch, it's a whole other thing to get past.
Exactly. So 7 laps remaining, and the guys have just gone over the 1 hour mark of racing. So once again, final race for the Allports Motorsport Supercars NZ Championship, with tonight being the Allports 200. So what a no better time than to give a massive shout out to our season sponsor of Allports Motorsports. Been looking after us now for a number of seasons, and with their Sparko gaming sponsorship there in the middle. And speaking of Sparko gaming products, we gave away a pair of socks at the beginning of the stream as part of the Father's Day special. And if you're feeling a bit hard luck that you didn't get the socks that you deserved for Father's Day, head along to allports.nz, find their Sparko Gaming Products tab, click on the socks, and just as a wee thank you from Allports and us, click in the code at the checkout SCNZ and get yourself 15% off of those. And come race with us next season. You might be able to take on some of these ultra fast guys that you see out here running on the iRacing platform. A big thank you to iRacing for providing this service to us. We love being here and we love what we're putting on for us. Hurry up and finish Pukekohe because we want to get amongst that next year.
Oh, don't we what?
Yeah, and a very awesome deal that Allports have been able to put together for us for this season with that SCNZ promo code. Able to get 15% off on Sparko products. I took that offer up myself and got myself some gloves and some socks, and I rate them very highly. So if you haven't got any of those yet, grab them and take advantage of that deal while it's still there.
100%. So that margin there from Taylor to Sean, pretty much over that lap, did not change at all.
Yes, I think Sean's either been able to find a bit more. Well, I think he has been able to find a bit more pace because he's back in the 30s, and that's very close to what the fastest pace we've seen all races. In fact, it's only 2/100ths of a second off Sean's own best lap of this race. So,
Wow.
he's just taken a bit of a moment to get the tyres cooled off a little bit after that battle with Craig ended the way it did. Took advantage of that fresh air to get the tyres back down to a good window, and he's now been able to find a good pace for him. Taylor still a little bit quicker over the previous lap, but I think Sean's been able to level it off enough that he may be able to hold on to the position here.
Yeah, that's good. So Craig has been able to chip away a spot, which was Simon Heddershide, who we see getting loose, and behind him coming around through the final corner. I don't know how slippery that snub-nosed Mustang is going to be at the moment. They're pretty boxy on the front anyway, but that wee tap on the front, it's probably not helping him out too much on the straightaways, so he will be quite reliant on tucking into the slipstream, but wondering how he'll benefit, if at all anything, to be able to close that margin down to the next spot ahead once he gets past Eamon Young. An interesting one to keep an eye on there as well. bit further down the order quickly, Blake Greenhall is just sitting pretty close there with Liam Jacobs after unfortunately having to go back through to get another pit stop out of the way. Some fresh tyres, a touch of gas and a repair. He's pretty close to doing that. Nick Mitchell from the start of the race, obviously falling out of it from P2. He's done a pretty good recovery drive to get back into P14, and he's looking at sizing up Wade Michael here for 13th spot. He's actually been able to roll through that one quite quickly and well controlled, so he's obviously looking after that car and just putting in some consistent lap times, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, impressive recoveries from both members of the Mitchell family tonight, really. With Nick, we saw him right down the back and a lap off the pace, and he's been able to climb back up to 13th position now, so good effort.
I'm just going to check something quickly. So, yeah, he did. I can confirm. So after Nick crashed, he did opt to, well, I'm guessing he probably had to, opted to, tight there, to tow to the pits as well. So he was there for quite a long time. And he's done a very good job of dragging himself back up to where he is. That would have potentially been quite a cool way to round out the end of the season, seeing both father and son having some cool race battles towards the end. They might have been potentially one of the only two people on track to possibly keep with this man here, who is getting ever close to cracking the 32nd time margin over P2. That's just awesome. And I do see there was a comment on YouTube earlier on from a guy called John, and he said Bruce's graphic reminds me of the John Player special colours. Well, you would be correct. I think that is exactly what he is going for.
So I think
It is certainly a very cool way of doing the Mag and Turbo colours.
I think Sean will be quite thankful that these cars don't have DRS, because if they did, Taylor Mitchell would... Oh, as Sean's just lit up the tyres coming off turn 3, and that's allowed Taylor to close right in behind him now. Plenty of pressure coming on Sean McNamara, and goes defensive down into turn 4. And he's able to control that inside line and just hold on to the position for now, but still looking at another 3 laps at the conclusion of this one, so can he hold on, or is Taylor going to be able to find a way around?
Well,
You'd be looking for that Mustang to be 3 cars wide, wouldn't you?
knowing Sean, he probably is making his Mustang 3 cars wide. It's no surprise to our viewers at home that have been listening to us for a while. Certainly not a fan of the big blue badge. My blood beats red. And but Sean is certainly a class act when he gets in behind one of those cars. It'd just be good to see what he could potentially do with a real car moving forward into the future, if he would ever take the moment to jump into the lion's heart and do it right.
Oh, a bit of a flash there from Taylor. We know Sean loves a good light flash.
He tends to flash his lights back, but they're red coloured.
Yeah.
Sort of a spicy battle happening back down here as well. 3 wide again. We've seen this turn to custard once before. But this is where we probably need to have our attention at the moment.
Taylor forcing Sean to take the tyre line in there. That'll allow Taylor to get the better run through, but not able to go anywhere with that momentum. But Sean was just a little bit tighter than the ideal line through turn 7 as well, and Taylor's going to be able to close right in under the rear wing, kicking up some dirt there, goes to have a look down the inside, shows the nose, just slots back in behind into turn 9.
Yeah, so Taylor's got a lap fresher tyres, I believe.
And he's got a good run here, and he's in the draft, he's going to go to the inside. He's got the pass done for now, but that's a corner where you do need to get a good exit, and Sean had the much better line through there, and you can see he's able to get the run back and get in a little bit of an overlap, and he's going to have the inside by the time they get up to turn 3.
And they are neck and neck. Wow, look at that positioning from Taylor. He was wanting to get that thing turned, squared, and away from coming out of that corner.
Yet it's certainly given him that momentum down the straight, flashing the lights, showing the nose, not able to fire it down the inside. Sean just doing enough to hold on there.
You can fair imagine Sean will be gritting his teeth at every time Taylor is flashing those lights. It's a hard one, but hopefully for Sean, he can take a breath, centre himself, and just go, I've got this. I just need to hit the markers, and I just need to do it right. Because he won't need any reminding whatsoever that a small mistake from him allows that door to be opened very wide for Taylor to get in and amongst that.
It's only 2 laps to go now though, and Sean's doing a great job so far of keeping Taylor behind, and has actually been able to open up a little bit of a gap towards the end of that lap as well. So a little bit of pressure coming off as we come into the area where if Taylor's going to make a pass, this is the part of the track that is most likely to happen, and at this stage he's probably a bit too far back to even think about it.
There we go. So there was definitely an attack, but look at it on screen. We have white flags. This is the final lap. And Taylor just again falling away a bit further. So Sean now definitely taking in a couple of good sucks of oxygen as we see Taylor in the background giving him one last flash saying, probably well done, I haven't got anything else for you in my tank.
Bruce Tennant coming through the final corner right now.
Thank you very much. There we go. That is a mega drive from Bruce as he pulls it up to celebrate. Victory style, burnout up against the wall. Well done.
Is he going to get out and get on the roof?
Can you not see him?
Oh, right, yeah, no, there he is.
He's wedged his boot on the pedal. Sean McNamara, great drive from him. 1 corner to go.
Shall we drag him down?
He hasn't had it easy. I think we have to, don't we? Once he's crossed the line. Well
P2,
done,
baby!
Sean McNamara, P2.
Thank you very much. I think Taylor gave it to me for the last lap, but it was a good fight with Craig and Taylor. It was awesome, man. I really enjoyed that. Cool.
You were certainly on form tonight. Superb driving. There's no wonder they call you the champ. You've been there, you've done it before, you've claimed the prize money, you threw it back at the league and said, you can have it. All I want is the goddamn trophy.
Just the glory. So, well done to Bruce Tennant for winning the championship, man. He deserves it. He was obviously far ahead of me in pace. Has been all season. He deserves the win. 33 seconds in front. Well done to him. So congratulations to him. And Taylor, that was awesome. Bad luck for old. Where is he? Craig Mason. Well, I didn't see what happened.
Craig's parked up at the last corner, letting everybody go past.
Yeah, hey, all good. But man, what a race! Hopefully, it was a bit interesting for you guys doing the commentary because I felt it was a little bit boring on track.
We certainly had no dull moments up here in the broadcasting lounge. There were battles happening left, right, and centre. Anywhere from what we saw with you guys, P2, 3 and 4, through to the really hard battles that were pretty much taking place for P6 through to 10. monumental, and then just outside of it, the guys in the top 10 equally battling away as well. So it was just all up. I don't think we could have asked for a better race to round out the season.
Oh, mate, that's it. A little bit of a fun fact, just so you know, I came second in the first round of the championship, which was my only podium in the championship, and I came second in the last round. There you go.
Very cool.
My only two podiums. Yeah.
I'm still trying to work out how you had a moment to be able to be bored during that race.
I was actually thinking, these guys in the I thought about the commentary. It's like, oh, mate, this is just playing, you know. Me and Craig had an absolute battle where we just given each other the spot if they got up the run, or if we slightly made a mistake. It was, that was his corner, you know. You gave it to him, and you fought for the next one. So, I believe a lot of people could learn from driving like that. Same with me and Taylor, to be honest. I thought he would have got me
on that. Yep.
Yeah, I thought he would have got me. I don't know if he had incident points. I was sort of near the end of mine, but I was like, I'm still going to fight for second, no matter what. So it'll be interesting to see what happened. I see where Leon Ware is. He's obviously had, third place in the championship. Look like it's gone to Wade Michaels, so congratulations to him.
Wow, there we go.
But awesome, boys. I'm wrapped, and for the racing itself, having this many people on the in the final race is pretty cool. All I see the people that bailed from whatever down. So yeah, from about 17th down.
Yep.
Yeah, that happens.
18th.
Yeah, 18th down.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I appreciate what you guys have done too. It's awesome what we do, and I can't wait to look back on the stream. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, Sean. Do you want me to put you down with the plebes?
Yeah, mate, shove me down.
All good.
All right, boys. Thank you very much.
So.
Cheers, Sean.
There we go. And yeah, man, we've said it quite a few times already, but wicked racing tonight, and certainly a big step up from some of the Div 1 racing that we saw last season. Everyone's sharpened up quite a lot, and they're racing like race car drivers should, allowing that room, giving each other a bit of time and space, and as Sean said, you know, if it looks like it's not yours, sometimes letting the other person have it and then focusing on the next corner is the best way forward. And like I said, my data sheet tonight was just absolutely flooded with people passing each other, so great racing by all of those.
Yeah, I think this is a trait that really lends itself to that style of racing too. If you lose one corner, you can generally fight back at the next corner. I think if you go back and watch the F1 races over the years at this track, it's a track where you see those sorts of battles where one guy gets past, the other guy gives it up, but focuses on getting the run out of that corner and into the next one, and it creates some really, really exciting racing to watch as the guys are just swapping positions all the time.
Yep, no, 100%, and there we go. So, Corey, you said you wanted to join us in the broadcasting lounge tonight to see what the professional act looked like compared to the clown act that is Thursday night. Which key do you think you'll be taking when you leave tonight for when you're going to come back?
I think I'll just slip in wherever. It doesn't worry me too much, but you guys definitely put on a good stream for the V8s, and I think with Thursday being closer to Friday, it tends to be a little bit more relaxed, maybe thirsty Thursday sort of thing.
If there was ever a diplomatic response, Corey, I think you found it, but I'll give it to you because I totally agree with you as well. I do think Shane and I do a pretty good job of putting it on, and I put a lot on Shane's shoulders. He certainly hasn't failed me yet or disappointed me much. I can certainly throw him under the bus, and he does a very good job of avoiding it. So thank you, Shane, again for a wicked season of being in the commentary booth with me. Hopefully, moving forward, we can have some more cool GT3 racing together. I know both of our lifestyles have been a bit busy in that respect, but as you said, Corey, those Thursday night guys are certainly a good way to start rounding out the end of the week and leaning on the weekend. I've certainly enjoyed jumping in the broadcasting lounge with them whilst racing, and certainly two bunch of cool guys at the the top end of our admin team. A lot
You've
of
got a good looking season coming up next season. Some pretty cool tracks for the
yeah,
V8s and the GT3s, and something spicy for Wednesday maybe.
yeah, very cool. Speaking of Thursdays, Shane, we're also walking into the final round of the GT3 series. Where are we going and what are we doing?
Well, we're going endurance racing as well, closing out our season with an endurance race just like the V8s did, and we're heading to Mount Panorama for a very challenging endurance race around there in the GT3s.
There we go, and I'm not too sure of the points margin. I didn't check that before coming in tonight for the GT3s, but I would suggest it is certainly a lot tighter than what Bruce had as a lead in this championship over his fellow peers. I believe our guys are only separated by about a margin of 11 or 15 points between first through to third and fourth spot. So keep an eye out for the racing on Thursday night through the broadcasting lounge. Jump in and check that one out. Get in behind All Ports Motorsport, check out their stuff, what you can get through them. Don't forget our 15% off discount code of SCNZ at checkout on Sparko Gaming products. Thank you, Shane. I look forward to our third season for the year as we wrap up towards Christmas.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me alongside you for another season. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, can't wait to be back.
Very cool. And to all of you at home, thank you again. It's been a pleasure. Have a good night.